grazing how it should. You can hear the compressor in the back running. All the sides are maximum. Now if you press the button one more time, this is the height control, and this is the stiffness for the dampers. Press it once, and you see how the car is settling down. So this is normal operation now. You have to scan the fault codes, clear everything one more time, put the covers back, put these covers back. There's 3 bolts. So when you lower the car for the first time, it's going to be really high. It'll be about like that high off the wheel. And then when you start it, if you have no faults and everything's working how it should, it'll lower itself down to normal ride height. So now you can put back the trim panels. Check your level on all sides. Go for a test drive. Release the pressure from your accumulator and regulators. And that's it. By the way, this fuel line leaking. If you replace the whole line from there all the way down. And you can also feel it here. You can feel it get hot and it will rise a little bit. So right now it's pretty firm, which means we're getting air pumped into this front right now. Okay, so essentially what you're doing is you're filling from the green line, okay, into the valve block, into the compressor, and then from the compressor you disconnect the line, connect it to the strut, and then it fills from the tank to the front strut. You have to do it with a scan tool, because otherwise, and I have to connect it to a charger, at least 13 volts you need. And you see, it says successful. Okay, so now that's it, you're done. So now put the car down, we're gonna clear the faults, we're gonna go back, see 13.3 volts, 13.2, go back, see, you're gonna go to replacement of components or pressure accumulator. Go back, fault read, no fault stored. That's what we want. Okay, so now you can, only at this point, you can put the car on the ground. So it has to be in the air, okay, while you're doing this procedure. You cannot set the car on the ground. So then you're gonna remove that white pin from the new strut assembly, okay? Then you're gonna remove the old valve like that, very careful. Then you're gonna clean off this line with brake clean, so it's clean before you insert it. And then it gets inserted right into there. You'll hear a click. Okay, so carefully. There you go. Hear that little click? See how it's stuck in there? Okay, so now this is called the second stage to filling it. So right now the tank in the car in the back is full. And now you have to, see, it says remove nitrogen filling system and reconnect front right damper correctly. Okay, we just did that. So hit OK. Fill front right damper status. So see, it says start. See, right there. Hit start. It says please wait, and it'll either be successful or unsuccessful. So now it's venting from the tank in the back of the car to the front strut. So now it's filling the system. You'll notice the gauge jumping a little bit. See, it's filling it and checking it, filling it and checking it. You can, this will be at 17 bar or 246 psi. There you go. So 16 bar minimum, 17's maximum. So right now it's filling the system. That's open all the way. This valve is open as well. This connects with the old attachment. They came out of the old strut on the airline, and that new one we're gonna use. It's already in the strut. So up here, as you can see, here's your airline. You're gonna replace that right there. They provide you new fittings. See, there's the new fitting already installed. That white tap clip comes out. By the way, when you fill it with nitrogen, you fill it through this green line. That already comes pre-tightened. We don't have the rebuild kit. So it's pretty simple, straightforward. Here's your little connector with your metal clip that just slides out. Here's your, see how I got this? A bungee, just holding it out of the way. You don't have to remove, they want you to remove all of this, the windshield wipers and everything. You know, no need to do that. On the other side, I just use a little puck. You see that little puck right there? Just to hold it out of the way. So you can have plenty of access in this hole to tighten it. Here's that one right there, and here's this one right here, right? You got to do less work, not more. So you don't have to, like in the instructions, they want you to remove this whole brace that goes all the way from here to the other side. There's no need to do that. So another important thing, guys, when you tighten those bolts there, this upper arm has to be in like roughly this height right here. You don't want to tighten them all the way so it's all the way up or all the way down, because you don't want to put too much strain on those bushings. You can actually rupture them if you pull on this too hard. So you're going to want to tighten those with the strut out, but you're going to want to tighten it in roughly this position. And when you put the strut in, just push it up, put the strut in, and then it'll come down on its own. So it's very important that you tighten these in roughly this position here. All right, so for you guys doing this at home, get some sort of lube. You're gonna need a 12 millimeter. You're gonna need it's a 8 millimeter, a T20, T25 with extension, a T30, a 10 millimeter flathead, small ratchet, a couple picks, screwdriver, 16 millimeter long, a couple ratchets, an E10. Let me show you what else. If you have air tools, make your life a little bit easier with extension, and 16 millimeter, 18 millimeter, a 24 millimeter on a long one that's small like this, doesn't take up a lot of space, a T40 for the upper control arm bolt, small extension, small ratchet, a couple extensions like this with a 15 millimeter and a long 3/8, a couple bungees as well, a mallet, 10 millimeter on an impact, a 18 millimeter on impact, some sort of lubricating oil to loosen up everything. So I'm just going to explain to you really quickly here. when you start, loosen this bolt, break this apart, just tap it lightly here. This will come off. Be very careful not to damage this because it's aluminum. Then you're going to put this up, take a zip tie on this side, zip tie it to that line, the AC line, or I think this is a fuel line. Zip tie this so it's out of your way. Then you're going to remove the sway bar link. It's a bolt. You can use an impact, hold it from the bottom, from the back. Remove the sway bar link, keep the tie rod in place, don't touch it. Remove this bolt here. I'll show you with that 24 mil. And just look at all the pictures very carefully that I'm making for you. It's pretty self-explanatory. This bolt slides out. Then what you're gonna do to pull the old shock out, you're going to angle it. It's gonna go like this, like out this way. So see how much space there is here? There's enough space here that it can just drop down enough so you have enough space to clear this axle. If you have the spring type, it's a little bit more difficult, but with the air, it's pretty simple. You'll just carry it out this way. What else? Then you can actually get to these bolts. I'll show you from the top. You don't have to disassemble a bunch of stuff. Just hold the other side with a 16 mil and then undo that bolt and this bolt. It's a perfect time to replace your upper because you have to remove the air strut anyway. Okay, so pretty simple job. What you are gonna need though is some sort of jack. If you're doing this on the ground, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, but you need a jack because when you're gonna put the jack underneath the lower control arm here. So what you're gonna do is slowly raise it until you get those 3 holes up there to line up. And then you can tighten the top. I'll show you in a second. And then what you're gonna do is take a piece of wood and then put it underneath your sway bar to jack this up to get this to line up to here. Okay, so pretty simple, but oh, one more thing I forgot. The first thing actually, your level sensor, it just pops out. I'm actually going to replace this because they're so old and brittle that it breaks. Those little clips break, so you're going to have to replace that bracket. And you're going to want to undo this sensor line and that. And then you're going to want to undo these two 10 millimeters for your brake line. Just don't pull on it too hard. Have a bungee holding it here so that if the shaft pops out a little bit, that's okay. You can just get it back in, you'll feel it. You just don't want to put too much tension on this line. So that's pretty much it, guys. Pretty simple. There's a new R-knot shock.